This
Recorded.
conference will now be recorded.
All right, so as always, everything we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only. Nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so this morning's pre-market, not really seeing much. There's a few things out there, but a lot of what we're going to be looking at this morning is based off stories from yesterday. So let's take a look first. INTC, probably one of the better things that we've seen this morning. So obviously they had earnings, and it looks like it did not. You know what? I can't even really tell. It doesn't look like it went horrible, but it's kind of right there. But looking at the print so far, we have at 45. This is one of the best show of hands that I've seen this morning, is these bid prints at that 45 level. So we ended up pushing up towards that 45.50. And we actually did just get a trigger coming back down towards that 45. So hopefully it holds off a little bit until the morning, or the actual bell goes off, but as of right this second, it looks like we're going to come underneath that 45 level. Any other prints that we've seen so far pretty much looks like covering, just not really too much there. So most logical point for us to look at, the first thing would be 44.56 at 395,000 share print line right here based off of the prints that we have. So overall, this is by far one of the best things that we see. Next thing looking at is Facebook. So we talked about yesterday how Twitter and Facebook, even though both in the same social media space, one shows one thing and the other shows another. So both of them were going up, but Twitter was the only one that actually had prints, and Facebook was pulling up. And one thing that we want to look at is right here at about 7:30, basically 7:13 to 7:36. You can see these prints that we had at 146 and 146.20. The orders are extremely thin. So looking at that, it really gives us a great show of hand based off of the fact that the orders are so thin right now. Imagine what they would have looked like at 7 o'clock. Now, was I up and was I looking at it? No, I wasn't, but I can definitely make that assumption that there wasn't anything out there that showed anything more than what we're getting now coming into 9 o'clock. So really like these prints right there. And then coming back up, we can see there's a little bit. I mean, 146, we had one bid print, mostly selling so far. So expecting a pull up coming in, but overall, we're certainly expecting this thing to continue to fall down. And then Twitter, we are going to keep our eyes on continuing, because of the fact that we know at 31 and 31.50, we do have some really good buying, and then 33 and 33.50 as well. So we're getting some decent buying at that 31.15 level. Not really any type of controlling prints that I care too much about. We do have some selling at that 31 level, which we're pulling up from. So I wouldn't be shocked to see this thing kind of take a little bit of a hit before we would see this, before we would see it come back up and start to satisfy that buying. One of the best levels that we do have buying, and I would definitely suggest writing this down, is that 32 level. 32 has been hit a whole bunch of times on that ass. So we're basically in Twitter right now in a pullback from buying, and then I'm expecting it to at least 34 in that area. Now, is it going to do that today? Based on its average, it trades about $1.18. So I would expect a little bit more than that. But overall, getting to 35 today is not really logical based off the puzzle that we have there. But overall, certainly has a lot of new buying that's coming into it. And other than that, I don't really see too much else out there. I know, SQ, see, one of the things is that a stock that moves does not mean is a stock that we should be trading. If we look at SQ, it's moved a little bit, this morning, and by a little bit, yeah, it's certainly, if we go from its lows to basically 69.50 all the way up to 71, it's a decent amount, but overall, there's just not really much that's showing us anything. We know we have a lot of selling that's underneath, right around at that 65 is basically the price target that we're going to be looking at. And it's had some decent buying coming into it. We know that there's some buying also above at that 74, 73 in that area. But 72 and below, there's a lot of selling. So another one where I am expecting it to pull up a little bit more before, but right this second during the pre-market, I don't see anything. There's nothing there that shows me that anything's going to happen at any point in time coming into this morning. We're going to have to see a little bit more once the market opens and tells us exactly where it's going to be looking to go first before we make any type of overall move. So let's take a look at our scanners. They really look very, very weak. TVIX, ETF, UVXY, same type of deal. And okay, 1.3 million shares, but it just is not really a great trade. It does not move much at all. You can see on average, it trades 8 cents. This is a complete quant stock. Mostly 99% of this stock is traded by computers, just nothing that I have any interest in looking at. And then moving over to our losers side of things, there's some stocks, but there's nothing that I really see that I have any interest in. FLEX, just not really the way that it's trading, absolute garbage. We have Snap, which Snap is just a horrendous day trade. It's moving a little bit, it's down, which is, I'm surprised that it's not down way more than it is right now. So I must have had earnings yesterday. Well, I know that it had earnings yesterday, jumped up, and then it just kind of got slammed. They hired somebody from Amazon to take over, and the market just did not care whatsoever. So nothing really going on there at all. SPXL, 340,000 shares. Another one where I don't see anything in it that I have any type of interest in. It's got decent prints, but it basically it's going to trade. It's just exactly like an ETF. I mean, there's just nothing there that I care about at all. ACB, another one. This stock is definitely going to move at some point. Just the pre-market is not showing that at all. IQ, I haven't talked about IQ in a while, but only 52,000 shares, took a little bit of a hit yesterday, but another one, just not really much going on out there. And when you see Siri on the list, that usually tells you that the pre-market volume is not doing much at all. All right, so Amazon and Google. Amazon and Google, I have to be completely honest, I really have no interest in trading at all. Yeah, it looks like a huge move, but look at the orders. Right now, if I wanted to take any type of shares, I'd have to trade literally almost less than 100 shares within it, which is there's just nothing to do whatsoever. If you're going to trade options, maybe. That's one thing, but we do actually have some decent buying at 1,645, but then 166.5, I have no interest. And then Google is another one where I have no interest in trading it. They're just way too expensive, and there's not enough orders for me to do anything. There's so many better stocks out there that will give you such a better return. Yeah, is it going to move like crazy? Of course it is, because you know what? We're talking about $1,000 stock. Yesterday, Google traded $41.43 within its range. That's great, but we'll find something else that's better, more in a reasonable price range for us to be able to do anything with. Anything in T. So T looks like it's going to get slammed. Okay, nothing has changed from yesterday. Okay, if we look at T has huge selling at that 30 level. T is not looking very good. So we can see on the daily chart, looks, if you're a shareholder of this and you're looking, on a longer term side of things and you're holding this for a buy, it is not looking good for you. It looks like absolute garbage. You can see there was this little bit of a support level here, right about that 30. The 30 has huge selling. So there's just not anything there that shows anything that looks good for this. I know also I was talking to Pritesh yesterday about the options within it, and the January 30s are really inexpensive. Once again, not that I'm an options trader, not that I am even qualified to say anything, but this stock is not looking good. We have huge selling at that 30 level. YNDX, let's take a look. So 26 still has not really been satisfied. And if you look over here on the daily chart, based off the selling that we have at that 26 level, when this thing breaks out of this little consolidation, see, I hate when a stock is in this type of pattern, because of the fact that you have so many times it's a failed pattern. This is an extremely bearish pattern. But overall, we have huge selling that's sitting at that 26 level. So when this does break back down underneath that 26, it's not going to look good for it whatsoever. But right now, during the pre-market, it's trading 29,000 shares, and it's just really been a crappy day trade. Just not much that goes on, within the day. But the overall move is certainly underneath that 26, and based off of what we saw yesterday, and coming coming into the aftermarket, this is not as much money as the people that came in on 26 on that sell side are looking to make. So we're certainly looking for more of a move towards that downside. AMD, so AMD, I didn't really look at a ton yesterday, so we know it needed to come underneath that 1850, and I think overall there was prints at 18. Remember, yesterday our platforms weren't really working in the morning time, but I'm pretty sure that there was selling at that 18 level. So overall, we have a bunch of buying that came in at that 20 level. Oh, ask at 18. Okay, even better. So we know we have ask at 18, and then 20 we have a whole bunch of ask prints. So overall, it looks like we need some type of run up. That's why it wasn't a trade yesterday, just ran out. Okay, yeah, unfortunately I didn't see anything that came in the morning. AMD was pretty much the reason why most of our platforms did not work, because of the amount of volume that was coming back into it. But if we have prints on that 18 on that ask side, we're going to be looking for it to pull back underneath, and then overall we're going to be looking for it to go above that 20 level based off of all that buying that we got, what, 10, 15 minutes after the open came in. All right, anything else out there that I missed? Do you really heavily consider ERs for day trading the way you do? I know option guys consider quite a bit. ERs, earnings? Yeah, no, I mean, earnings, basically all I care about for earnings is the fact that it's going to give the stock some type of volatility. The earnings themselves, I could care less about. So how many times have a stock crushed earnings and then it tanked? And then how many times have you seen a stock not even come close to the earnings, but all of a sudden it shoots up? So as a day trade, it's the way that I trade. I honestly, I could care less. Based off of whatever the earnings are, the market makers within the prints are going to show us exactly where they're looking for the stock to go. So I don't try to interpret things that I don't really know. Okay, so all I do is I look for the prints that show, and the market makers that show us how they're interpreting their prints. All right, guys, so remember, today is Friday. We will have no afternoon meetings, but I will be here all day. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more volatility coming in once the market opens. We certainly have a bunch of things out there for us to pay attention to. It's just, we're gonna need, obviously we're gonna need the market to open. We're gonna need more volume to come in and a few better shows of hand. All right, guys, so I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.